I love non-majors biology and non-major students because there are students who come into the class and they might not be excited. They might be fearful about science. In many cases, I have seniors who have put this off until almost graduation time. And so it's my one chance to convince them that this is interesting and important and exciting to them, and to see them appreciate sort of how biological things interact with their lives, or things they've heard about, or decisions they're going to make, is just really exciting for me, and I think it's empowering for the students. One of the features that differentiates our book from others is that each chapter is truly a story. It's not just a book ended, right, where there's an example at the beginning and we complete the example at the end of the chapter. The story weaves throughout the entire chapter, and we introduce the science as students need to know it to make the storyline progress. And so I think that's a very unique feature. It's very much story-driven, and it makes the science very much authentic and real and relatable to students. The infographics are incredibly effective. First of all, they're just sort of beautiful to look at, so they engage your interest immediately. Although they have a lot of information in them, it's sort of so clearly parsed out, and it's visually clean and clear. And the changes to the infographics in this third edition just make them visually beautiful, crisp, clear, just you want to look at it, right? But it's not just that it's a beautiful piece of art, it's that the science is sort of broken out into very clear to follow steps, and the annotations that we've added help walk the students through it. So in terms of the updates to Launchpad, I am really excited to see the new art being incorporated into the infographic animations. I am excited that Learning Curve is going to be able to be assigned based on driving questions as opposed to an entire chapter. And I am super excited that all of the end of chapter questions are now going to be assignable and gradable, which is really a new feature for this edition. Teaching in an active classroom has been shown to be very effective in terms of reducing performance gaps, for example, between non-traditional and traditional students, and engaging students and improving student success in general. And I think the same thing applies for non-majors as it does for majors, and particularly for non-majors who may not have an inherent interest in the material. This isn't their major after all. Giving them an activity, something to work through and to apply the information to, I think can really help them engage with the material and perhaps develop a deeper appreciation or understanding of how this really is relevant to them. One of the new active learning tools for the third edition is to more formalize active learning lesson plans. And so for each chapter, for 2 of the driving questions, there's going to be actual in-class active learning activities pre-built and pre-designed for an instructor to use. And that includes any handouts that are necessary, slides that are necessary, clicker questions, anything that the instructor needs to do some sort of interactive or active activity that addresses the concepts of at least 2 of the driving questions for every single chapter in the book. So I have had several users email me, just sort of out of the wild blue yonder, and it's such a treat to get an email that says, you know, your story about this or that or the other just transformed my students, or the teaching out of your book has made me change how I teach intro bio, and I've been teaching intro bio for 15 or 20 years. What excites me are the story-driven science, the fact that students are drawn into a really compelling story, that the scientific concepts are clearly encapsulated in the infographics, and that we really do have support for students to make sure that not only have you read through this story and become very fascinated by the scenario that's presented, but you really have learned that underlying science, even if you may not have realized you were learning it along the way.